yesterday's price is not today's price.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast. I am your host, DJ Maverick. Today we have a producer, a rapper, and a filmmaker, the one and only Sandeep. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us, man. Yeah.
I am excited for the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Sandeep, as you said. I'm a geophysicist by trade. I look for oil. Like that's what my day job is.
Yeah.
I work with, coding, all that good stuff, data analytics. And as my hobby, which has become something that I love, I produce music, instrumental music, as well as I rap in Hindi, my own language. That's really weird in Oklahoma, and it's actually like we're getting a lot of love for it. So,
yeah,
and then I'm also a filmmaker because 2019 I wasn't part of a film, and then I just love the whole process. So I've been doing a little bit of music videos, shooting music videos, corporate videos, but mostly like trying to get more short films and stuff under my belt.
Very cool. Born in India, right?
Born in India, yeah.
So did you grow up there or just born there and moved to the U.S. quickly after?
Yeah, so I was born there and then I moved here in 2006. So basically after high school.
Okay.
My mom is still a nurse, so she was a nurse back home. And back in 2005, there was a whole shortage of nurses in U.S. So, then they opened it up for other countries to come in.
Okay.
And where you can like give exams and, like if you pass those exams, you can come in. And the good thing is back then they were migrating the whole families. So basically it was just a culture shock. It's just like finish high school, all of a sudden I'm in this country where there's just so much choices.
Right.
So, like I was just out of high school. So yeah, I was born there. 16 years, moved here.
Tell me what that was like, because I've never been to India. So tell me, what's the good, what's the bad, like growing up? What are your memories?
The memories are, it's kind of interesting because, the more, it's almost like it seems like a dream now, just because I've been here for so long and it was already a culture shock. So that my brain somehow has retained a lot more information after I came here. Yeah. Like I remember a few things from India. It's also, like I'm sure at some point in my life I'll like remember details, but it was fun, dude. It was just, I was in school. I was one of those kids who's always like messing around,
Yeah.
And my dad was a principal of the same school that I was in, so it's not fun.
Yeah. I don't know if you were messing around, because if you ended up being a geophysicist, I wasn't
that good, dude. So like I already tell people, is like I didn't get good at studies up until probably like my 4th year of undergrad.
Okay.
I was just F's and D's and all
that.
That. No, dude, like
really?
It just, so that's what's like, hey, if anybody's listening and they're like struggling, just remember, like once you find what you like to do, you'll do better.
So that was the magic until you found what you were interested in. It was just like coasting, or what?
Because so it's almost like, when you coming from an Indian background, it's almost like you have very few choices.
Yeah.
Like,
you're going to be a doctor,
engineer,
a lawyer.
Right? Lawyer, even lawyer is like too far out.
Oh, lawyer's too far out?
So it's basically like doctors, engineers, and pharmacists. Like that's a three.
That's it, huh?
Dentist. That's also a doctor, but that's what like paved for you. It's just like, that's it. And then like when I came here, like I tried to do that because I was like, hey, my parents want me to be one of these things. So and I was okay at studies. I wasn't that great.
So they straight up told you, hey, like these are your career options.
3 options.
That was it.
And then so I tried that. I tried pre-med, pre-this, pre-that. No, I wasn't good at anything. And my dad is a biology teacher. He's a PhD in biology. So it was it sucked that not being good at that.
Yeah.
But then, like I just kept doing school, just coasting, just not doing much.
Yeah.
Went to University of Buffalo for a little bit. And then just came back, not doing anything. And then finally found like environmental sciences. And I'm just like, this is cool. And there's a course in it called Geophysics. I was like, I'm just going to take it, see what it seems like. I was like, loved it. And then after that, A's throughout undergrad, grad school, all of that.
Nice. What's the one thing that you miss about India?
Man, it's just everything is open a lot later, like New York.
Yeah.
And then I think I also like just it's a lot more. I think it's a lot more like open in terms of like just people are hanging out and stuff. Like it's a lot more. Even if you don't know somebody, they're all very, very friendly. Like it's like a Midwest,
more like community based.
It's a more
like
community based, And then
friends,
obviously, because like I grew up with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I made friends here, but it was a different part of my life, so it wasn't the same exact, hanging out with on motorcycles at night and stuff like that. So that's something I miss a lot.
Okay, very cool. So you grew up in India and then you moved straight here to Oklahoma, or were you in NY first?
I was in New Jersey for from 2006 to 13. So I did my undergrad and grad in New Jersey, and then I was like a brief stint in University of Buffalo for like 3 semesters. But New Jersey and that was also interesting because New Jersey had a lot of Indian population. So it kind of still felt like home a little bit because you had a whole street with literally just Indian restaurants and Indian stores. And, like I came here for a PhD at Oklahoma State for geophysics, but I dropped it like the first semester.
Really?
I was just like, dude.
What happened? What was so bad that after one semester?
Bro, it was just like I was in school for so long. Like I kind of was just tired of living the student lifestyle. 400 square foot apartments. Not be able to pay for like good food and stuff like that. So I was like, dude, I need to get a job. Like I can't do that.
So it wasn't like the studies or anything like that. It was just like the living.
The number of years did like scare me a little bit. It's like, oh man, it's gonna be 6 years that I'll be out. So like I was already in school for 5 of undergrad because I fucked around a little bit, and then 2 for 2.5 for grad, and then I'm like I just did another master's, and then the second year that I was in master's, I got a job at Devon Energy, and I just stayed there for a while. Yeah.
Awesome. So what are the career options? Because I don't know geophysics. Like I guess you could go the academic route where you could teach or whatever, and then of course you can go oil and gas route, right? But like, what other career options are there?
So like especially for places like Oklahoma and Texas, the oil and gas is a lot more predominant, and like towards the coast, you get more of the hydro geophysicists, where basically they're understanding groundwater pollution and this and that. So it's a lot more environmental focused versus where we are just like drilling and getting oil.
And that's where the money is.
That's where the money is, dude. Like in Jersey, like for probably like what what we make at Devon, it's probably like 3 times what they make in Jersey, even though the living cost is so much higher.
Really,
environmental is just not that much money because most of it is like government jobs. So.
So you studied that. How did you even land on that? Like, I know you said you sort of tried a few things. Like, what made you say, I'm going to try geophysics?
Man, when I first took that course, I just liked the idea of actually looking underneath the earth without actually looking.
It's like seismic? Or
seismic data. So, but we did a lot of electric stuff. So it's almost like, like MRI off the ground. That's what to explain it.
Magnets
magnetics, electric stuff, like CT scans of the ground. Yeah. And it's called different than geophysics, but like that's the idea of it basically. And then seismic is more like the ultrasound, but on a large scale. Cool. So like that really like very much interested me. Like, it's like 3D models and stuff like that. So I'm just like, dude, this is it. And I was like, I found out I was good at physics and math. And I was like, sure, there's the Indian.
Yeah. And your parents were like, I told you.
Told you were going to be good at math.
I told you it was in there. Well, did you ever explore anything artistic, like growing up or anything? It was always like straight academics or what?
I tried the tabla drums for a little bit. Okay. Like the Indian percussion. And I tried my hand on singing for probably a month. Okay. When I was probably like 10 years old. But it's one of those things where you're younger, if it's not disciplined, because India it's like I was in a small town, so maybe there were no guitar lessons and stuff like that. So I never really, it was only like classical Indian singing, which I didn't really care about that much. I'm sure in the city there might have been some guitar lessons, but I never really thought about it that much. It was more like I wanted to play soccer, football, as we call it, right? And then I just wanted to play, like play around, hang out with friends, like that. Like, here there's a culture of like learn an instrument kind of thing, right? Versus there, it was just like, because my mom never pushed me to learn it. Yeah, they're more concerned about like, are you getting good grades? Academics, so it really didn't matter. But so I tried that for a little bit, and then I tried a little bit of drumming when I was in college here. Okay, just for like 6 months, but nothing ever stuck. Okay.
Yeah, because I think in India, they even have like pretty unique instruments, right? Like a different version of a guitar, a different version of drums. So beautiful, dude.
Yeah,
right? Like,
so beautiful.
Yeah, you never experienced with any of that? Yeah.
I wish I did, bro.
Okay, because me thinking about your producer background, like some of the coolest like hip hop samples and stuff lately as of yet has been sort of like Indian influence, like all the different
like the Timbaland 90s,
yeah.
Timbaland, yeah. But now I use a lot of that in my production. Okay. But like I haven't had like actual experience using them, unfortunately. Like I'm trying to get people who play that a lot more. I found some percussionists in Oklahoma that play the South Indian and like mridangam, which is a percussion, and the tabla. So I've been trying to get artists that actually do that so I can incorporate that in my music. But
I see. So you prefer live instruments versus like just sampling off of a record or something?
I like both. When I first started, I was kind of sampled. The record it came a little bit later because again, it was kind of the legality of the whole thing.
Sure.
Like I didn't know. Yeah. I mean, I always sampled it, but I just couldn't distribute it.
What's copyright, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's because I always like people always make that statement is like, man, if they come for me, then I've already made it,
right?
So I can pay them. It's like, yeah, but they will come for everything you have.
All the royalties are theirs, basically.
Everything,
yeah.
So I did it, but I just like did Instagram videos with it. Like I never actually like release anything.
Yeah.
And once I hit Splice and all those sample websites, I started just like chopping up crazy.
Okay.
So like I tried to find like international instruments, maybe download sample packs that had Indian instruments in it. But now I've been kind of focusing more on like playing guitar. So I've been learning from last 1 year.
Okay.
And I've just been doing some weird psychedelic rock shit with it. So it's just
That's
anything.
cool.
It's just like I'm an ADHD dude.
Yeah.
So something new comes along and I'm just like, that one.
So what came first? Are we talking producer first, rapper first, filmmaker? Like what
producer
came first?
Producer first. 2018.
Okay.
So it was just a thing where hip hop was not a huge part of my life.
No.
What'd
you grow up listening to?
Bollywood music, and whatever came to my small town was like shit like
real poppy stuff,
Banga Boys and Backstreet Boys. I love Backstreet Boys, bro. Yeah.
I mean, it's like I can see that pop is like everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But
so
I'm surprised there's no hip hop.
Like Mambo number. So the problem is like the town was small. So I mean, I'm sure if I went to like the CD store, which is in the city, I could find some hip hop or some more crazy stuff. But like the small little place that we were in and the little shopping center that we had, it was more Bollywood music, pop, like some Mambo number 5 and that kind of stuff.
So if I would have met you back then, you'd have been like, hey, you heard about these Venga Boys?
Oh, yeah, boy. Yeah. It's funny because my wife, she's from Enid, Oklahoma, and she's never heard of Venga Boys.
What?
And every time like we'll play like a video of like 100 top hits from the 90s, always a Euro trash shit. Right. I will always know. And she was like, I don't know what the fuck.
How did she miss that? I mean, that was
idea.
everywhere.
But then I guess not in Enid.
Huh. Interesting.
But yeah, so hip hop was never part of it, dude. It was, and then when I came here, my friend of mine gave me, back then it was like LimeWire era.
Oh yeah.
So he gave me like a 100 gigabyte of like songs, just random songs.
Okay.
And so I kind of stumbled upon a lot of like the classics like Pink Floyd and Rolling Stones and prog rock like Tool, Porcupine Tree.
Oh,
so
nice.
I started like really.
So that was like your music lesson. All of a sudden, all this stuff I've never even heard before.
All of a sudden, I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
And then there's also shit like Goo Goo Dolls and, and just the awful breakup music.
Yeah.
Like that
Did the
kind
grunge
of
stuff make it in there too? Like Nirvana and stuff like that?
Nirvana made it. Yeah. Dave Matthews Band made it. Like all that stuff made it. But what stuck with me was like the Who, Doors, Pink Floyd, Tool.
Okay.
Like all that, like a very psychedelic kind of thing. Soundgarden.
Okay.
Eddie Vedder, like that kind of stuff kind of made it. So basically, like I was getting a lesson into classic rock.
Yeah. So you skipped like the hair band, like 80s, like 80s. Guns N' Roses, all that skipped.
I kind of liked Guns N' Roses. I kind of liked them more once I wanted to play guitar.
Yeah.
Slash was like one of my favorite guitarists.
Sure.
But now things have changed because now I'm just like looking for people who. Like he plays with a lot of soul too, but like I look for like people who play with a lot of soul.
Like Hendrix or something.
And then like Eddie Hazel from like Funkadelics, like that, that maggot brain kind of shit. But yeah, so hip hop still nowhere.
Man, crazy.
But it's always like in Rutgers in New Jersey, like then things started like 3-6 Mafia and that kind of shit.
3-6 Mafia?
That's what I heard, bro. What? Yeah.
I figured that was like down south,
No, so I was in I forgot I was in North Carolina for a year. That's where I kind of recognized, got into 3-6 Mafia, Soulja Boy, and all that stuff.
Okay. That makes more sense.
And then
New Jersey.
And then New Jersey, it was more like Black and Yellow,
yeah.
like that kind of shit.
Okay, like Wiz Khalifa,
and all that stuff. stuff.
Okay.
Kanye made it, Jay-Z.
Of course, Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. But it still,
Yeah.
it never stuck. Like, it never stuck
So you
with
didn't
me.
like it, or
I
what?
like the beats. I
Yeah.
just never really cared for the topics they were talking about.
Yeah.
Because I'm from a different country,
Sure.
different lifestyle kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Hip hop's always like braggadocious.
It
Look
is,
at my
it is,
car,
yeah.
look at my chain, right?
So I was just like, okay, I like the beats always stuck with me.
Yeah.
The actual lyricism never did.
Okay.
So I still listened to some of it, but it still never stuck.
Yeah.
It's still no hip hop inside for me.
Man.
Still hard rock.
That's crazy for me to believe, because like since day one I've been like hip hop, like
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. So that's crazy.
So it's a lot late. And then 2018, like I was dating my wife then, and she is a huge like underground hip hop head.
Okay. I thought you were about to say, hey, have you heard of this Garth Brooks?
No, she also likes Garth Brooks,
right.
but she also like loves the underground scene.
Okay.
Aesop Rock,
Nice.
freaking Atmosphere is one of her
Yeah,
favorites.
okay.
And then
Like Devin the Dude or something like
yeah,
that.
Right. I don't think she listens to Devin, but I've heard of him. Yeah,
Okay.
and then so it was mostly, I think her favorite is still Atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like that's one of her favorite like rap groups.
Okay.
And then so she's like, Roots are coming to town for 2018, Windstar Casino. Do you want to
Yeah.
go? I'm just like, I don't like hip hop, one of
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
And then she's like, trust me,
You're gonna
there's
like
live
it.
band.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like through the whole show, just like, what the fuck?
Was this like your first like hip hop experience?
First hip-hop experience.
Yeah?
I'm just,
Oh,
like,
man, what a way
mesmerized.
to start. The
I'm
Roots. That's
dude,
crazy.
Black Thought. I'm just
Yeah.
like, did God just come down? Like,
That's
this
awesome.
motherfucker is
Yeah.
just going at it, dude. And there was a DJ that was played with the Roots. He played with a light block at the break of the show.
Okay.
And I'm just like, was like, you can make music without playing an instrument?
Yeah.
Like that was my first
Yeah,
thought.
that's
Like, because
cool.
it was just like, I thought it was just like, you're a musician or you can fuck off, like
Right,
that kind of
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want that. And then I went on Amazon at the break of the show
Yeah.
and bought a MIDI keyboard,
Nice.
Novation, and it came with Ableton. And I
Yeah.
was just like at
So
home.
that was like your Kickstarter.
Kickstart,
to producing right
2018,
there.
Ableton. And I was just
Nice.
like making beats, and I called my wife. We lived down where my studio is now, actually, Edge Midtown Apartments. And I made a beat, proud of it.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome beat. Called her. She just started fucking laughing at it.
Really?
She's like,
What?
and then she's like, oh, this dude feels bad. I should say something nice. Like, the ticking
Yeah.
sound is good. And I was
Nice.
like, that's the fucking metronome. That's
Nice.
not even part of the beat.
What did she not like about it? Like, what did she say?
It was just, she knew it was in key.
Yeah.
It's just the structure of it and the
Okay.
sound usage. Like, the what
Yeah.
you, like when you first start, like the sounds you use
Sure.
are pretty shitty,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're probably experimenting at the time, right?
But what I knew then was that, hey, I'm good at not playing out of key. That's a plus. Let's keep that.
Yeah.
And let's actually build on that. So I just kept making beats.
Okay.
Making beats after beats. And then 2020 is when I started like getting it pretty decent. Like she's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're actually getting pretty good at making
So
beats.
like 2 years in, she's finally like, I guess you're
Yeah,
okay.
like
Yeah.
2018 October I started, but probably 2020, like a year and a half in. She's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think
Nice.
you're fine.
Yeah.
I still have my beat, like old beats on like SoundCloud somewhere.
What was your producer tag back then?
Man, Chivalry with a Shiva, SHIVALR. I was
I
like,
like
you know
it.
what, bro?
I like it.
I want to be an Indian god.
Yeah, yeah. So did you start like collaborating with any rappers at this point, or was it just like straight beats?
Straight beats.
Yeah.
Kept like looking at rappers in town, see what
Yeah.
they're doing. And then one day it was like right. So we went to India with my wife and two friends, December of 2019. The day we came back, COVID hit.
Okay.
Shit just got shut down. But so we lived next to Overholser. So we started walking the trails every day.
Yeah.
And one day I like looked down and somebody kind of tagged Chalk on the pathway saying, Rob Kumpion, check out my channel, YouTube channel.
Really?
And I was
Okay.
like, I don't know who the fuck this is. And I kept walking, another tag. I was like, you know what? I'm going to look this asshole up. You know?
Yeah. Who does he think he is?
And he was a
right?
rapper, and he
Yeah.
was like rapping, and I was like, it's pretty dope. So I kind of reached out to him on a YouTube caption.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, dude, I make beats. Hit me up on Instagram. This is my Instagram.
Dope.
And so hit me up, and we just started making music. And then I made an album with him called Fables and Fiction. And then slowly, like through him, I started like common connections, started
Yeah.
getting more people.
Like started learning about the hip hop scene,
The
in
hip hop
city
scene, and then
stuff.
kind of
Yeah.
started. Thomas Hu was a big artist that I contacted, and
Okay.
I sent him beats for like a month, dude, and he didn't like a single one of them. And he still tells the story to everybody. He's like, dude, I knew this dude's has no ego because I just kept sending beats. I didn't be like,
Yeah.
you know what, if you don't like my beat, fuck you,
Yeah. How
Like,
many did you send? You think
Probably like
before?
10.
10?
And then he's like, dude, just not feeling it. And then
Yeah.
I was like, dude, why don't you upload something that you like, and then I'll see if I can make something similar. So he uploaded a video of him rapping on a lo-fi beat.
Okay.
And I made it. I made something very similar with my own, twist to it.
Sure.
Send it to him, and he's like, "What's your number?" And I was like, "Here it is." And then he called me. He's like, "Dude, I had to like drop everything
Nice.
to get to hop on this beat. Like
Yeah.
I wrote the whole verse. Like
Yeah.
it's done."
That's
It
cool.
was like, "What are you doing next Thursday?" And then he emailed me the basically the address of the studio. Banner Staval. He's a mixer and engineer here. His studio. He's like, "Dude, show up. JB's gonna be on on his way." And I was like,
Yeah.
"I don't know who JB is." At that point, I'm just like, so I'm like looking up JB, and I was like, "JB's made songs with Murs and fucking Atmosphere."
You're like, what's going on here, right?
And I was like, somebody slapped me, dude.
Yeah.
And so after that, it was like every Thursday we just pull up. I pull up to the studio. He has different features every week.
Okay.
I pull up beats because I make like one every
Is
day.
this like a freestyle session?
No,
or
so what they do is like I'll pull up beats, I'll play them, and then they'll be like, "I like that one."
Oh, okay.
I just loop it.
Okay.
They're writing 45 minutes.
Yeah.
They're done with the song, recorded, move to the next one.
Really?
They did like 3 songs a night.
Okay.
Because he wanted to do something called 42 and 42, where he drops one single every week of the year.
Yeah.
And so he did that like the whole last year. So I
Okay.
did like the first probably 35 songs.
They did it together as a group, everybody
So it
involved?
was
or
Thomas
what?
Who, and then he just called artists. His idea
Okay.
was like, hey, let's leave the ego at the door. If
Yeah.
you want to come here, collaborate, let's make music together.
Okay.
And so that was his initiative of actually like inviting more people to
Yeah.
like mingle with each other and make records.
Cool. But you were the only producer? or
Only
what?
producer
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I had to like step off for a little bit. And then there's two more that came by. But like
Okay.
the first probably 40 songs, it was just
Yeah.
just
that's
me
awesome.
just pulling up tracks. Like I made probably one every day. So I had
Yeah.
like just repository of tracks.
Man, is that tough? Like, did you ever just think that you were just kind of doing stuff to do it, right? Or were you still being creative about it?
I was being creative, but I think towards the end, I kind of felt like I was doing stuff. Like
Yeah.
I kind of almost went to a point where I was just like, am I making something that I want to make, or
Yeah.
am I making something that other people like,
Right.
kind of thing? And so that's when the whole switch happened for my artistry. Is just like I had to first learn the rules to break them.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to understand what hip hop, like what the hip hop beat is, because
Yeah.
there's so many different types.
Right.
But I had to understand like different styles of hip hop beat. Like now it's trap beats, boom bap beats.
Yeah.
I never made drill. I don't think I'm probably gonna make drill.
So what are your like hip hop producers now that you kind of got sort of, did a deep dive into all the hip hop stuff?
Probably Ninth Wonder, Apollo Brown,
Okay.
Larange, and those are the 3 that I always look up to.
Okay. Cool.
And then there are other ones. There are some Indian producers that I really love now. They're also like rappers. Prabdeep is a huge influence on me. He's an Indian artist that also like produces his own stuff, raps
Okay.
and sings. But like back then, it was mostly like YouTube channels, how to make beats. you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
And then listening to obviously Jay Dilla, like it's a lot of Jay Dilla. But what stuck out to me were Apollo Brown, Decca, Larange, and Ninth Wonder. Like
Okay.
those were the 4 that I just kept going.
So
back.
those seems like they're like real structured, kind of like the root, the heart of hip hop sound, right? Like, is that kind of what you gravitated towards? Is like traditional, like, like 808s and stuff, snares and stuff. Yeah.
I loved samples a lot.
Yeah.
Like that's what I knew from the very get go. Is just like I love chopping up samples.
Yeah.
Like I love just taking a sample and finding out ways that I can chop it and make it my own.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I kind of gravitated towards more of those sample based producers. But then I kind of also like slowly kind of went into more producers that are like
What about Premiere?
Premier, yeah, he was pretty
Yeah.
big too, but it just like for some reason those 4 were just like always
Yeah.
top like
Okay.
for me. And then Premier was like his introducing that album, fucking classic, dude.
Yeah. Premiere's always like the scratching and like you could always tell like this is a Premiere.
Yeah, it's a
beat.
Premier beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always tell it's an Apollo Brown beat just
Yeah.
the way it drops.
Yep.
It's just like that sample plays with crackle, and
Right.
then it's just like a big old drop.
For sure.
And then probably 808s. Like I really like Metro Boomin when it came to trap beats.
Okay.
Because I don't really usually like that many trap beats because they start becoming like very similar. But like Metro Boomin was doing something interesting, so I kind of was like, he's making some interesting beats. So
Yeah.
like when the album he had with 21 Savage, he's not my favorite artist, but I love the beats on that album, the 21 Savage album
Yeah.
that
Okay.
they did. Yeah, but it was like, and then I was like trying to find my own sounds, listening to like classical Indian music and trying to like understand how are they structuring things.
Yeah. So
How
you
are
started introducing some of those instruments and elements into your producing?
even
or
like
what?
even when I started, like I always had like I remember like few of the songs that I made in the beginning had sitar in it, had like that kind of sound, and that's what, like Thomas kind of liked that because
Yeah.
he kind of reminded him of like Timbaland.
And the vocal samples that you can get out of like old school, like Indian records and stuff like that, like those are so fire.
And
on,
now
like,
the
a
good
beat,
thing,
like
now the good thing is Tracklit makes it easier. The website.
Yeah.
It's like digital crate digging, and they'll clear the sample for you.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
I've been working on like a whole album where it's just like sample based.
Yeah.
Like in the vein of Apollo Brown, because I've been listening to a lot of him and just like, yeah, I think I need a sample based album like
That's
that.
cool.
Yeah.
So at what point did you sort of decide, okay, I've been producing, I've been like, collaborating with all these rappers. I think I'm going to rap too.
Man, rapping didn't start. So I have to introduce my dude Flow State from Finite Galaxy in the story at this point, because Flow
So
State.
you started as Finite Galaxy is like sort of your group, right? So
Yeah.
you started out the gate as a group or what?
Yeah, so what happened was at the Thomasu session, so Thomasu and Flow State know each other for a long time. So
Okay.
Matt, that's his real name. Matt's from Indiana. So he's been rapping since he was 12.
Yeah.
And then he came to Oklahoma, and they used to go to church and just do battle raps outside of church. And so one day I was sitting at Thomasu studio. This is probably like 1 month in. And then this dude sitting there, and he just like, dude, I love your beats, bro. And he was just there for a session before our session to
Okay.
record stuff for his solo project. And I was like, dude, you need any beats? Let me know, bro. I'll send it to you, because I have no issues like sending people beats and
Yeah.
stuff. Like I don't give a shit about money, dude.
What do you do like if they just take your beat and then like they just run with it?
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
like Flow State is sending in a studio session. He like looks up at me. He's like, dude, you're freaking awesome beats, dude. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I can send you some. I send him some. And he's like, dude, these are awesome. Like, do you have a studio guy I can record? He came, recorded a few stuff, and we just like vibed out. Like,
That's
I
cool.
just that was that energy.
Yeah.
Like I loved his style. I loved the way he talked about like his lyrics sound almost like ancient text. Like it's basically like a Buddhist text, like
Oh, really?
spirituality and all that like deep stuff, like
Okay.
very very subconscious kind of thought process.
Yeah.
I love that shit, and I'm just like. And I've mentioned that I wanted to try rapping in Hindi to a lot of people, but usually people be like, yeah, that's cool. And then just like,
Just move
so what I was
on.
saying, yeah.
Yeah.
But Flow is the first one to be like, dude, I want to hear that shit. I want to hear it. So I was like, okay. I mean, I've only written poetry back in the day. I've never rapped before.
So you had never been on
Never
a mic ever. Yeah.
Never.
And you're just like, I
Zero.
just want to do it.
I just want to do it.
Yeah?
And then I
Okay.
just wrote a song, which was called Finite Galaxy.
Okay.
And then because we were, the idea was that the verse kind of became where, like at that point I was kind of battling with, some mental health issues and stuff like that. So I kind of felt very inconsequential in the whole grand scheme of things of cosmos. And it was like,
I didn't know if
'cause
the
I'm a
Finite
physicist.
Galaxy was related to the geophysics. Like
It
everything's
kind of
finite,
was.
right?
It kind of was because somebody mentions like, aren't all the galaxies finite? And I was like, you know what, bro?
Yeah.
You're taking the poetry out of it. So for me,
Yeah.
it was just like we're so like small in the grand scheme of things, but sometimes we forget that hey, what makes our universe is like the people around us, and that's a very finite number of people. So that became Finite Galaxy. Like
Got
that
it.
was the idea of the verse for me.
Okay.
So we just named the beat, and then KOSU NPR played it on their radio.
Oh, yeah?
like the OK Rock show on
How?
Friday.
You just submitted it, or what
just
happened?
like all of a sudden, I think the people followed us on Instagram because
Okay.
we were a bilingual duo from Oklahoma.
Yeah. Was this like when SoundCloud rappers was sort of like taking off, or no?
No, it's just like
No?
we just posted on
Okay.
Spotify and
Oh, really?
my dude,
Okay.
and a huge shout out to Ryan LaCroix. He's always supported us. Like he does the OK Rock show every Friday.
Cool.
He just played
Yeah,
our song.
shout out. Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it was hesitant for me. It was very hesitancy for me because I'm a Hindi rapper in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who won't order fajitas at restaurants because
Really?
they come sizzling to your table.
Nice.
Like I don't want the attention.
Yeah.
And then so it was like at first it was very nerve wracking for me to like rap in Hindi. The idea of like, am I good enough? Are people gonna make fun of me or
Yeah.
this and that? But after a while, I'm just like, nah. So that's how Finite Galaxy started. It's just
Okay.
like one single. And they played on the radio, and we both are, even when we made that song, we're just like, dude, there's something beautiful that has just happened here.
Yeah.
And we need to just continue doing that shit.
So how does he know sort of what you're rapping about and how he's going to sort of complement what you're doing, right? Because it's a whole different language.
Whole different language. So
right?
it's interesting. Like sometimes we'll talk about the topic of what feeling a beat, a beat always gives you a feeling.
Sure.
And so, but the funny thing is, and the beautiful part about this, and I know it's going to be something beautiful between us, I'll send him a beat and we'll write separately.
Okay.
We come back and we have kind of written the similar thing.
Really?
Different languages.
Just based on the vibe,
Based
and
on the vibe of the beat,
stuff.
and
Okay.
then just the way our sort of personalities are,
Yeah.
and the way we kind of vibe with each other. It's just
Okay.
like sometimes we'll come back and we'll just almost like written. Some line is like almost the translation of the of each other. Like that's
Wow,
how close
that's
we
crazy.
get. Yeah, but most of the time, like that's probably like 60% of the time, but 40% of the time we'll like talk about the feel. It's like, hey man, I'm feeling like we need to talk about kind of subconscious thoughts here and there.
Yeah.
And so it'll be more of a conversation.
Okay, that's cool. So you guys sort of made some music together. It got some exposure. And then what's next? Did you start doing live shows, or like what was the next step?
Yeah,
after
dude. No,
that?
like the live show, it just like it's almost like blinding the way it fucking just went up. Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like we were just like in the studio making music, and then all of a sudden we were writing an EP, and all of a sudden we were writing a whole album,
Man.
and all of a sudden, like in few months, in the matter of like few months, we are like hitting up open mics, and we did 2 open mics at Soul Thursdays by a dude named Willis Ryder. And then after that, we applied for Asian Night Market Festival,
Okay.
the Asian District Festival that they
Yeah.
have every year.
Yeah.
First time a hip hop act ever went up on there.
Oh, really?
They invited us, and we were there with the band. Like we started like getting people to play with us live. So we had a bassist,
So you got like a that's
saxophone
cool.
player.
Yeah.
So we started with a saxophone player, a bassist, and my friend Sean, who I made films with. He does vocals, so
Okay.
he started adding his stuff into our songs, and we were in front of like 3,000 fucking people, dude. All of a sudden, like
This was like your
in 3
first
months.
sort of like live show, or
live
you did
show.
The
The
smaller.
we did a smaller like open mic, probably like 30, 40 people.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden we were like thrown in front of like
Nice.
3,000-4,000 people.
What was that like?
Fucking crazy.
From
dude.
from the dude that doesn't order fajitas.
Oh my god, dude. It was crazy, but something always comes over me when I'm performing live. There's some like
Yeah.
I cannot explain it, but it's just
You
like
just like block everybody
block,
out,
and
or
it's just
what?
like like the more I'm performing, it just like this energy sort of comes through, and I'm just like, oh, dude, I'm gonna burn the stage. Like no matter what, how many people are in the crowd, like
Yeah.
the stage is getting burned.
That's cool.
by me, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just like 4,000 people, and I know people are gonna understand Hindi. Like that was my other issue. Is like,
Yeah.
am I writing like deep enough for people
Right.
to be like, that's pretty good, or just like that's childish, you
Yeah.
know? So that sort of thought, but I just kept like, nope, it's my music, it's what my truth is, and I'm just gonna say it. So, dude, after that, it just like shows after shows. I just started contacting people, and we started getting shows at Delhi. We started getting shows at, and then last year we opened up for Danny Brown when he came to town.
No way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We just
That's
like
cool.
we-
Where was
'cause
that? Like Tower or somewhere?
Beer
or where?
City. Yeah.
Okay.
So I contacted Chad, and I was like, hey, dude, we need to get into Pony Boy, because I
Yeah.
always wanted to get into Pony Boy with our band. And he's like, yeah, let's make it happen. And the next day he messages me, he's like, hey, dude, you guys want to open up for Danny Brown? And I was like,
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
that was a crazy
Yeah.
show, dude. Yeah.
Did you get to meet him and stuff, or what?
No, dude.
No?
No.
Okay.
So, he's just a weird dude, bro.
Yeah, I bet.
He's
Yeah.
just, I like
He's
it. though.
out there.
He's out there, dude.
yeah.
No. He probably like did a 45-minute stand-up routine on
Yeah.
stage.
Okay.
He just talked for like
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Crazy.
I think he probably only played like an hour set, and then next 2 hours he's just an hour and a half or something. He's just like talking,
Yeah.
talking about weed, talking about
Yeah.
this, talking about that.
So
But
what-
that was a crazy show, dude.
What would you say, sort of like, what are the themes, or what are the stuff that you like to rap about, right? Like, is it all over the place, or is it like kind of deeper stuff? Like, what are you?
It's mostly deeper stuff. So for us, like our main whole idea of our rap is, or our artistry is, like we need to be as raw for human being as possible, because we've both been through like a lot of mental health crises. Like that's a big
Yeah.
thing for us. Is like, hey,
Okay.
because coming from India, mental health is not really taken care of as much.
Right.
It's just brushed.
and
under-
there's a
under
lot
the
of
rug.
pressure, like we were just talking about, where
Yeah.
everybody has to like be successful.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So for coming from there, like I wanna, for me and Matt, for Matt, it's just like his, he's gone through a lot of trauma in his life, so he's just like, this is his way of almost like meditating through his music.
Okay.
Where just like, hey, and then sometimes he'll kind of do like a subconscious pour of all his thoughts. Sometimes
Yeah.
he'll go more kind of deeper, more enigmatic with his imagery, with almost like a Buddhist text. So for both of us, it's about, he's like, hey, if we can have one more person in this world,
Yeah.
like, hey, I know you're going through some shit, But trust me, you know, we are here. Like we are also. There's other people going through the same thing.
Okay.
So just hold on.
So that people like would compare you maybe to Logic or something like that.
Similar,
or no?
yeah. I think some there's people. There's like, you know, Decca is a pretty like it's hard with the bilingual.
I mean, I don't want to put you in a box.
No,
or
but it's
anything.
just
I'm
like
trying to,
there's
put
like
it out there for people. Right?
There's like influences from people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some of our song, some people mentioned like it sounded like Desperado meets Wu-Tang.
Okay.
Because it had that Italian sample, and then all of a sudden there's like a Wu-Tang sort of like verse from Mad.
Yeah.
And then somebody, Ryan LaCroix, once said that it reminded them of Jurassic 5, and I'm just like, dude, we made it.
That's dope.
I think we're done.
Yeah,
I think we should just pack it up.
Yeah.
And then I think like Decca and Brother Ali, like that kind of like very conscious, kind of talk about real
and
stuff.
Brother Ali hasn't been out there. Like, where's he at? What happened to him?
It's been a while, dude. Yeah,
I don't know what's up with him because
I have no
he
idea.
used to be like blowing up, and then it's just quiet.
He's just very quiet, dude. He hasn't dropped anything in a while, actually.
Yeah,
I was
now
talking
that
to
you brought
JB
him up,
about it. Yeah, I was talking to JB about it. But yeah, because he's in contact with Brother Ali, and I was like, he hasn't dropped anything in a while, dude. But yeah, so something like that where just like. It's some because we have to rap about something important.
Sure.
Like otherwise, I mean, once in a while we'll do like braggadocious shit.
Yeah.
But even the braggadocious shit is about like very spiritual and very like self-reflective.
Okay.
But but mostly like if I don't have anything to talk about, I'm just not gonna say anything. Like I'm just gonna make beats.
Got it. Are you preferred to like put it down on paper before you do it, or are you pretty good at freestyling too?
Dude,
or
I'm awful at freestyling. I cannot freestyle.
No? Okay.
And that's why I was on another podcast yesterday, and I was just like, a dude asked if he can freestyle. I'm just like, dude, no. Like I know I'll lose like probably like 1,000 points in the hip hop community, but
it's all
at
good.
this point, dude, I don't give a shit, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to know like sort of what your strengths are, right? Because some people try to freestyle and then they just like lose it.
Now,
right?
for me, it's just like because I do so many things. I mean, I probably at one point will want to like try. I think it opens up your brain to like more because I've been kind of getting writer's block a little bit. But like freestyle is not my.
Yeah.
I can make a beat in 5 minutes. Like
Not
I can
your
do that.
forte.
Yeah, but freestyle is not my forte.
Yeah. So where does the filmmaking come in? All of a sudden, it's like filmmaking. Like,
dude,
we were talking I just had Marlon on the show, right? And
Yeah.
he's like, I guess you guys are working on some projects together. So
So
how does filmmaking come about?
Bro, filmmaking started weirdly, dude. Just as my whole like the whole like creative side had just come weird, dude. It's just like random coincidences. So filmmaking, I started making music in 2019. 2019, a friend of mine, he used to work at Devon too. He doesn't work there anymore, but he's he still makes music with us. Sean, somebody said that, hey, Sean makes films. He was in a different group at work, and so just Sean makes zombie films, and so I was like, zombie films, dude. So I'm just like looking for Sean, and I talked to Sean, and he's literally in the process of like basically planning out his film. So he wrote 2 books, a zombie book, survival books, like zombie.
Really?
There's like characters that are going through like an apocalypse, and
What even attracted? Someone said zombies, and you're like, I gotta look the dude up. Like,
it was
what
like zombie
attracted you?
filmmaking, like he's a filmmaker, and I always loved films. Like that's one of my favorite like things to do is just like Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite directors.
Okay. Top 5 films. What do you got?
Memento, probably Gangs of Wasseypur is an Indian film. Interstellar is far up there.
Okay.
District 9, the Alien film, and the 5th one is always hard. 5th one, damn, there's a lot of good ones, but I would say Ugly. It's another Indian film.
Okay,
but
so
like,
even your films are like deep.
It's always deep,
huh?
Yeah, I do like some trashy shit, dude. Yeah, but like if I have to like think about certain things, dude, you can ask my wife. I can watch hours of cringe on YouTube, bro.
Yeah,
just awful, like bad music,
right,
like Red Dress, that kind of shit. I can watch hours of that, but it's just like, but when I have to like really think about certain things, I'll like always go for the good ones,
So we look up the zombie guy.
I look up the zombie guy, and I'm just like, Sean, what the fuck's going on, dude?
Yeah.
I heard that you're a filmmaker. So he already had made a film called It Lives Inside with a friend of his. It's like a horror film.
Yeah.
And he's like a big horror dude, like John Carpenter kind of stuff. He loves that shit. So he's like, here's a script. You can audition for it.
So you're gonna be in the movie all of a sudden.
And I was just like, hell yeah, dude. And he's like, because I was like kind of treading. He's like, can I audition for it? He's like, yeah, dude. So there was a character of a Bengali dude. he based it off on his friend named Sham. So I was like audition for it, got the part, and I'm like in the zombie film.
What was
all
the
of a
part?
sudden,
What were you?
It was basically a Survivor.
Survivor.
So I was just
so you're like fighting zombies all of a sudden.
yeah, I was just like with a fake M16.
Nice.
We shot in Francis Tuttle, Langston. We shot downtown Guthrie. Like it was the most incredible.
Can people watch it if they want to watch it?
It's called Zombacter. Zombacter.
Okay.
Like
Where can
zombie
they find
bacteria. I think it's free on Tubi.
Okay.
Tubi TV. Just go Zombacter, and then I think you can like rent it on Amazon.
Awesome.
But and the more fun part about that was like I asked him, he's like, hey, can I make the soundtrack for this film? Because I just started producing, and he's like, yeah, dude. And to this day, I mean, I'm I know he's being nice, but he's like, the soundtrack is the best part of the film. Like he keeps saying that, and I was very proud of the soundtrack because it was like very like I was listening to a lot of Nine Inch Nails back
back then. That would be amazing for a soundtrack. Nine Inch Nails,
man. And especially like his like Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross's like soundtracks.
Yeah,
like all the different soundtracks that he had back then, like Gone Girl and all that stuff. And I'm just like, fuck, this is awesome. So I'm like incorporating that, and then I made this like zombie soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then that was the start of film. And I'm just like on set. It was like from 10 in the morning to 10 the next day, and I'm just like loving it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Sean was dying because he was the one doing a lot of work because he's like small crew. Like I was helping with lights when I wasn't acting, helping him with all of that stuff.
So you were doing acting. You were helping with the backstage stuff. You were like
making
also
music,
doing the soundtrack,
making music on set.
Crazy.
Just like showing it. I was like, hey Sean, I made this little piece for this scene that we were doing the other day.
Walk me through that process. So if you're doing a soundtrack, like what do you do? Do you have like sort of a part of the film and you're watching it and then you're playing as you're watching it, or how's it even work?
It kind of goes back and forth. Sometimes I'll like to watch the scene, feel the emotion of the scene, and then kind of stop it and then go make something.
Okay. You're getting like the unedited raw footage and you're doing the soundtrack based off of that.
Yeah. And then I'm also, sometimes I'm just like, I'm going by the description of the scene. It's like, oh, here's where we are going into the survivors are going into the building. They get confronted by zombies. And I'm just like in my head thinking the pacing of the scene and trying to, add more arpeggiated synths and more movement and stuff like that, which kind of goes down once they.
How do you even know like how, as far as length, right? Like
that's when you start. That's when you start like adding in the film. Like so, I'll make a demo, like an idea.
Okay.
And then I'll have the parts in front of me, and then I'll pull the movie in, and I'll see like, okay, these are the beats that I need to change the music.
Okay.
And these are the places that I need to like maybe add another piece of music down there. Yeah.
So you did that first project, Zombies. You experienced a little bit of everything, and then you were hooked into filmmaking.
I was hooked, dude. I was just like, this is incredible, dude.
Yeah.
So then I did like few more like shorts, did some commercials, did some acting stuff here and there.
Yeah.
Not much. I'm not a huge actor, dude. Like I already knew that. I did enough to not fool, make myself look like an idiot.
Yeah.
That's about it.
You didn't enjoy it, or you just
I loved it, dude.
I
loved it, but it was just like dude, that's a whole different industry, dude.
For
like
sure.
Acting. It's just a whole different industry. I kind of auditioned for a few things and just got like background roles here and there. But I think what I wanted to do is like more create my own stories. So that's why the filmmaking came in. So I did my first short. It was like 2020. Did my first short. Fucking dark, dude. It was
you
dark.
decided to do your own project.
Because then you can choose what the stories you tell, kind of thing. So I was just like, you know what, I want to do my own stuff. So I started doing that, and then just did music videos. Like I shot some of our music videos, Finite Galaxy.
Did you have the gear, or all of a sudden you started buying like camera gear? All of a sudden,
I almost puked, dude, when I bought that. My wife, she's like, yeah, I still remember that day.
What did you start with? Like, what are we talking about?
So I just used Sean's camera back then. He had a big like FS 700 cinema camera.
Yeah. Okay.
Huge. So we just used his camera to shoot, and then one day I'm just like, dude, I think we might need another camera, because we were trying to like do videography as a gig full time. Okay. So we're just like, all right. Then I got this like Super 35 lens cinema camera called Z-Cam, and then I was just like, dude, I was like, oh my god. When I pressed that checkout on B&H photo, I almost vomited, dude. But so that I just started getting gear, and then I started doing like music videos for people. And then we started writing like short films and short series. That's what we're doing right now, is just like writing this dark comedy that we're basing on like our life experiences and stuff like that.
So your first project was also dark, or like what was
Always
like
been, dude.
always
For
been.
some reason, it's just like dark shit comes out of me, even in rap.
Yeah.
I'm usually like, it's kind of interesting because a lot of people that know me from very young, and because I'm all very like happy, fucking around all the time, dude. But I think like when I sit and think, a lot of dark shit comes out of me. I think that's just my way of, I think, taking that out, like cleansing myself. So like a lot of people listen to my music who know me for a while, they're like, I did not know that dark shit came out of you, dude. Because
did you experience anything growing up, or is just like kind of like an outlet, like that's where you sort of want to be creative, or like
it's an outlet. I think I also think that like sadness has a fucking beauty to it. Like that's what it is. Like that I always like very like depressing songs and shit. Like I also like happy songs, but like you have a large spectrum of emotion when the sadness is concerned.
Right.
So and also I think because I have a tendency to go like into depression a lot, like that's what my way of getting out of it is, just like to talk about it openly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said a dark project, like what is it about? Sort of give me sort of the thesis behind this short film here.
So the first short film I did, it was a dude who basically is either losing his mind or he's living the same day again and again.
Okay.
So he doesn't know that, but he wakes up every day. It's almost like a groundhog, but darker.
Yeah.
And then so there's some trauma in his life that led him to that point. And he's just like every day he's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Happened.
Yeah. So it's piece by piece, like in 15 minutes of the movie, he's like, we are adding more and more detail to what happened.
Yeah.
And then like there's a dark ending to it. And then, it just like, that's what it is. It's like the idea of like, almost like a nightmare. Like you just keep waking up and not knowing what happened. And then once you finally realize what happened and you do something about it, nothing has changed. And so that's the darkness. It's like,
so damn. how many films have you made so far, or are you still sort of working on that one project?
So I made that one, and then the short series that we're making, I don't want to say too much because it's like really cool shit. Because you want to, but it's about sort of what would happen if you can transfer your consciousness into a different body once you're done with yours.
Man, so
that's
we're talking like some like AI future stuff, or
so it's almost like a used car sales place, but for bodies. Like you can just go and be like, yeah, I'm fucking tired of my body. And there's the whole, because I want to tackle the sort of the racial undertones of our society in that of how somebody like what would happen if somebody wants to like jump race. Yeah. And that's a whole different concept, of like, there has to be a sensitivity training of certain things you can't say anymore.
Yeah, because if you can shop for your body, then all of a sudden, like, race is not like a factor anymore.
Exactly.
Right? Like, it doesn't matter.
But now people know that I guess you can't say certain things anymore because now you're in a different race. Yeah. So there are certain things you just cannot say. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So that's going to be a series.
That's going to be a series. So we wrote the pilot, and then we're just going to, now I need to do it quick because I mentioned it on the podcast. So I'm just like, I need to get on it. Because it's just, dude, music has been taking a lot of my time. So we just like, we wrote the pilot, and then we wanted to start like writing sessions where we invite other writers and comedians to come in. Because it's supposed to be like a dark comedy. Cool. So once that happens, we just like, then we do a pilot, and then we see if we can get like production money to continue doing that.
Are you going to try submitting it to like movie festivals and stuff like that?
That's the idea. Yeah, that's the idea. We did for our first film, but I don't think it was just way too, I guess it was still my first film. So just like, I wasn't expecting it to get anywhere, but and
can people check that one out? Like, where can they find that?
I think it's on. It's called Samsara, Samsara. It just means like life and this like cyclical nature of life. And then I think if you go Sandeep Productions on YouTube, you can find it. Yeah, cool. And you probably also find like some beats and stuff. Yeah, just random shit on my page.
Awesome. Cool. So then, in the meantime, you're also doing soundtracks for other projects, right? So is that still ongoing or
still ongoing? So Marlon and I linked up. I think, as I said, like 2.5 years back. He was working on his film back then, and then we just like I remember actually it was the casting agent. I mentioned this idea of this exact story, and she's like, man, I think a person who would love to be part of this project. And then she mentioned Marlon to me, and she introduced us together, and we just kind of hit it off. I liked his energy. I love everything he was doing. You know, his whole basically his idea of actually putting, you know, black people as the main cast in movies, not being the side characters. So I loved everything he was doing. So it was just no brainer for me to like hang out with him and start bouncing ideas. And then he was making his film. He started making his film, The Deal. I think he just finished filming it, and then he was in the process of editing it. So he contacted me. He's just like, "Hey man, I know you did soundtrack. I heard your zombie soundtrack. It was really good. Would you be interested in doing this? Let's do a trial run." And then he just loved what I did when I first started. So we just met in the studio. He has a YouTube video of us being in the studio, and he just kind of going through how the soundtrack is made kind of thing.
Okay.
There's a video of, you know, us like opening up a scene, understanding the tone of it, adding some pads to it, seeing where we can actually change the feel of it and how the scene kind of behaves and stuff like that. And anybody who says that soundtrack does not add anything to the film, bullshit.
It could change the whole like scene altogether. Like we were talking the other day on the podcast where even like silence, right? So the lack of like music and sound can change the whole scene altogether.
Yeah, because if you add like Benny Hill music underneath like a serious movie, it's gonna fuck it up.
Yeah. So that's cool. So you did the whole film. You sort of like did the whole soundtrack.
The whole soundtrack.
Yeah.
So we did the whole soundtrack, and then we added like some of our Finite Galaxy songs in there, almost like as if it was like played on the radio.
Yeah.
And then some of my instrumental stuff we added. We found places like montage sequences and stuff to add. But I think a lot of like most of it is just like made from scratch, like us playing with pads, us playing with different, you know, like samples and stuff like that. Okay, dude, it was an exhilarating experience, bro.
That's cool. And then you guys are like working on a new project also, or what?
I think so. Yeah. So he's gonna be part of the short series. He's one of the Marlon is one of the writers in there as well, and he's gonna be acting in it as the first guy who comes in for a body transfer.
Awesome.
and so we're working on that, and then I think we have a few short films that we had discussed, you know, but you know, we both kind of got busy with our projects. So I think for him, I just, you know, we were like, let's finish The Deal first, because that's a good film. Like, it's a really, really good film, and I want, you know, the world to see it. So we're just like trying to finish that up, and so we can have a premiere or something like that for it. Okay. Where we can, you know, and I also did a sound like a original theme song for The Deal. So it was like me, the first thing that plays is, you know, almost like. He showed me Yellowstone opening credits. Okay. And he's like, I want something that's Western, but also hip hop. So I kind of added this like twangy guitar and like Western style guitar, and I added like a hip hop beat to it, and I had my friend Psych.
So like opening credits, it's like you off
opening
the bat,
credits, like he talks, opening credit, and then there's a freaking rap in there, like just straight, you know, and then Hindi rap comes in. Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm sure people are gonna be like, dude.
Yeah. That's cool. So what would you say is sort of the breakdown percentage of like what you do music wise, rapper wise, film wise? Like, where do you dedicate your time? Is it all over or what?
I think it's probably leaning more towards very, very high percentage is me producing and rapping right now. Okay. Just because I guess that's what's reciprocating, like universally reciprocating to that part of my life.
Yeah. Okay.
So the filmmaking has been on the back end, like back burner for now, for a little bit. And again, I'm trying to go back to work, so that's going to eat into my, you know, daily like time during the day. Yeah. But right now the focus is we have another album coming out for Finite Galaxy, so we're just like finishing that up, and then we also want to do like a little tour in May. Cool. Just like maybe go from here to Santa Fe to Denver and then back kind of thing.
Man, you should even explore maybe South by or something like that. That would be cool, right?
Dude, I tried, but I have no idea how to get in there yet. Yeah. I think the only thing I found was like, oh, you can rent a venue, put your own show. And it's like, how much is that? $7,000. I was crazy. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm cool. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So where can people find you? Like, you know, plug in your socials where, you know, if they're interested in the music and everything, is there one spot or they have to go to different places?
Probably two different places. So it's Sandeep_music is my Instagram. And then you can find me on Spotify for my solo artistry under Sandeep is SUN_DEEP. Okay. And then Finite Galaxy is just Google Finite Galaxy. You'll find it because it is a unique name that it just shows up like in the beginning. So finitegalaxy.com is a website. And then if you just Spotify, Instagram Finite Galaxy, Facebook Finite Galaxy, anything Finite Galaxy.
Any upcoming shows, live shows for Finite Galaxy?
So we got some big ones coming actually. So we got Opolis and Norman tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we were called to headline Norman Music Festival.
Oh, nice.
On Thursday, April 27th. So it was just out of nowhere. I'm just like, cool.
That's awesome.
It's still settling in. I still haven't really realized
that's gonna be really cool.
But April 27th, 8 p.m., we are headlining on the Alley stage at Norman Music Festival.
Awesome. So people definitely need to check that out.
Yep.
I'm going to put you on the spot. One thing that I always ask the guests is to tell me something that most people don't know about them. So I'm going to put you on the spot before we sign off.
So we know about the Geophysics. I mean, a lot of people don't know that I ride motorcycles. I guess that's one simple thing that people don't know about me. And I like riding like off-road motorcycles.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think if there are any other like weird shit.
Besides fighting zombies. Producing music, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I think that's not much that I can tell. It's pretty much, I'm almost like open book, dude. Like I'm like, awesome. I am what I am kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that I ride motorcycles and stuff like that.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was hard to crunch it all in, but I think definitely we'll need to have you back. Like once, I'm sure you're about to release new music. Yeah. You're about to headline Norman Music Festival. You have films coming up. Like you've got all these projects coming up, right? So definitely want to extend the invitation whenever you want to have back on and talk about those projects.
We'll get Matt up here too. Because he's awesome. A dope dude to know. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I want to thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much, man.
It was so much fun learning about everything. And then we didn't even deep dive into like the geophysics and geeked out there.
We got time. Next time, right?
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the only Sandeep on the Maverick podcast. Keep grinding because in dreams we trust.